Welcome, everyone. Hello, Nathan, Richard, Olga, Fernando, George, Esther, Shalom, Frank, Shiva. Welcome. So, welcome yourself, welcome your experience as it appears to you. Freedom from past and future. Freedom from concerns. Nothing to pursue or nothing to avoid. So just for now, complete availability without any intention, without any personal intention. Is sort of abandon without a feeling of anything being abandoned. Being the flow without a need to understand, without a need to have a mind. Formulation. Being as I am. In this moment, which is not a moment in time. Rather, the eternity of being. And in this eternity is the infinity. Without any limited person. The breath. The vastness of breath. permeating our entire being. An expression of being. A gentle flow, movement, without anything actually moving. Sometimes we look so far away for that which is closer than close. The mind always looking for something out there somewhere to figure out, to whine about, to hope for. Veiling that in this moment all is well, as it is, whichever way it is. In our desires, in desiring, we desire desirelessness. We desire freedom from desire. Our deepest desire is freedom from all desires. Freedom from the activity of desiring. In order to desire, you separate yourself from who knows what. An imagined separation. And this felt separation is your yearning for unification. But you have never been the separate self that you imagine yourself to be. You cannot divide the ocean. Your true nature, your essential nature, this moment and every moment is desireless, does not know separation, does not know a separate subject, separate object. It takes effort to separate yourself and desire something and maintain the desiring subject and the desired object. But when you meet your experience, fully, completely, nothing is lacking. And there is no room for you to imagine yourself in any way whatsoever. In complete presence. There is no room for past stories, future hopes, because presence is complete. Sometimes the mind creates a concept, a caricature out of presence. It may say, well, presence is a good feeling, or it must look like this or like that. And within this mind activity, presence is objectified as an object of desire. Spiritual desire of sort. Simply be. Without concern about what you are, what you should be. Sort of a space between thoughts. In time, you will find that this space between thoughts is there as well in the presence of the appearance of a thought or the singing of birds, the sound of rain or traffic. And that, in fact, the sound of traffic is this very stillness. Taking on the form of a sound. It can be so simple. Uncomplicated. Rather than desiring and missing and lacking, we can appreciate and celebrate and rejoice. To be a lovely garden, to be the garden, without any gates, open and free, not free because some door or some gate is open, but free because there are no gates, no walls. So that our life, every expression, is an expression of this causeless freedom. Unending invitation. Like the flow of a river, flowing. This is the beauty of it, the sounds of it, and how it nourishes. It nourishes the garden, it nourishes the farms, the land. You are the river, the garden, the land, the sky. Everything. You are everything. But you're not a thing. You've never been an object. You never will be. It's never happened. Just a belief. But here we are in this moment, complete freedom from belief, complete freedom from time. No separation, no story, no history. The joy of being, causeless joy. Okay, so Andrew, I see you wrote in the chat. Is that something you want me to read, or you would like to speak it yourself?
You can read it, please.
Okay. So Andrew, you're right. At one of the most painful moments of my life, where I despaired of even life itself, it was suddenly comforting that God, Tao, Brahman, whatever we call it, is. And that is good. And that is enough for it all to be good. Yes. There was no need for me to exist, for all to be okay and good. It was a surprising realization. Now, when I feel insecurity or worry, I focus on only God exists and all is well. And really, I am that. The day resolves itself in this space. Can you comment on this? I'm open to being corrected. Well, my comment, Andrew, is this is really beautiful. That whenever you feel insecurity or worry, you recollect your understanding that Tao, God, is, and that this is sufficient. I will also add that God, the Tao, I, is this one reality. That there is no God outside of the self, outside of I. There is no duality. There's no God and I. That I refers to God's being, not to a personal being. And yes, only God/I, presence, awareness exists. One reality. Yes, and as you say, and really I am that. Yes, yes. And this I, which is that itself. that the I is that and that is I, not two, non-dual, Advaita. So to recollect our understanding is sort of like resetting the compass. From time to time, we reset the compass by recollecting our understanding that there is one reality, which we can call God, universal consciousness, Atman, Brahman, awareness, being. Reality is one reality. And this reality is that which perceives right now, this perception. Whatever it is that in this moment is and knows I am. When I know I am, I know God is, because there's only one amness, one being. None, so not the physical being, but one beingness, which we know as I am. There aren't two knowledges of being. There isn't the knowing of I am and the knowing of God is. There's only one knowingness about amness, which is reality is. And we know this reality experientially as our experience of awareness. I am and I am aware are like a revolving door. There cannot be knowingness of amness, I know I am, without awareness. In I am, there is the knowingness of I am. And in the knowingness that I am, there is the presence, there is the I am. When I know that God is, I'm having a direct experience of God. This direct experience is not a sensation. Because if it is a sensation, then I am perceiving a sensation. And this sensation, like all sensations, appears and disappears. Sensation A is followed by sensation B. And sensation B is in time followed by sensation C. When I know God as a sensation, or when I know God as a perception, then I know God as a limited appearance. Because if I know God as a perception, that perception will be in time followed by another perception. The knowingness of God is the knowingness of eternity, of that which has no beginning and no ending. So it's an experiential knowing of that which has no beginning and no ending. So if you look right now at your experience, what is it in your experience that you know experientially has no beginning and no ending? Is it not awareness? Once you comprehend experientially that in fact your experience is no beginning, is eternal, has no beginning and no ending, which is experience of awareness. You are knowing God. You are knowing that which has no beginning and no ending. Because that which has no beginning and no ending has no limitation in time, and no limitation in space. That which has no beginning and no ending has no history, no past, no future. Is the reality of awareness, the reality of consciousness. That is non-phenomenal, causeless, not the result of any experience, not the result of any sensation or a particular discovery. It is causeless, absolute. This is what we refer to as reality. God as reality, universal consciousness as a reality, not a concept, but the actual. And it is that which is uninterrupted in your experience, which is awareness. Now, awareness is veiled by thought. Thought arises and says, well, is it this or is it that? Does it belong to the body? Is there more of it? Is there more of it in your mind and less of it in my mind? And so thought, which are sound waves, right? Thought is sound waves, vibrational fields, electromagnetic fields in the universe. That's what thought is. Appears to you. It appears to you. It appears to you like in your night dream images appear to you. It appears to you like when there is a lightning. You look out and you see the lightning appearing to you as thought appears to you. It's sound waves. But these sound waves, the activity of thinking and the activity of feeling, seems to be that which is real. The mind gets preoccupied with the senses, with the thoughts and the sensations. And in this preoccupation or in this occupation, in this activity of mind, the reality of consciousness awareness takes the background. But in fact, it's not possible for any thought to appear without awareness. It's not possible for any sensation to appear without awareness, right? So in fact, what seems to be in the background is always in the foreground, because it is the essence of any thought, the essence of any perception, the essence of any feeling, awareness. But the mind looks at objects. It says, well, wait a minute, I only perceive blue, yellow, red, white, green. And I'm not seeing no color. I'm not seeing awareness. I'm not seeing, I see the wall is blue, the floor is brown, the tree is green, but I'm not seeing awareness. Then we say, okay, well, awareness is non-objective. That's why you don't see it. It says, so therefore it's an image. Oh, okay, like an image, like the image of, a image of a unicorn or the image of a pink flying elephant. I see. So awareness or reality is an image. It's a concept. No, we say, no, it's not a concept. It's not a concept because a concept is still an object. It's a subtle object, but it's still an object. It's still a form. Then the mind goes, well, okay, You're confusing me now. If you're saying it's not a gross object, it's not a subtle object, then what are you talking about? We're talking about the reality of mind. The reality of mind. Your source, the source of mind. Well, where do you look for the source of mind? Right here, right now. Right here, right now. The source of this perception. Is it not I? Where else? What else perceives it? That which perceives thought and perception and sensation, that which perceives it, is its creator. Why is it its creator? Because it cannot perceive it without meeting it. Without meeting it. You cannot perceive something which is apart from you. So in order to meet it, you have to be it. It's a little bit tricky for the mind to accept that, but you have to take a look. You cannot meet something while being apart from it. So if you're knowing a thought, you have to meet it. Therefore, the thought and you are one. Not two. Not two. In fact, there is no two. Two is a concept. There is no two in the entire universe. Because there is no two in the entire universe, there actually is no one. No one. Because one is only in existence in reference to two and to three and to four. But when we say there is no one, it does not mean there is no reality. Always saying there is no objective reality. Anyways, I just went all over the map with this. So, yes.
Magdi?
Yes, Shiva.
Bonjour.
Salut
Ça va
Shiva.
bien?
Oui, ça va. Tu peux attendre une minute parce que Fernando m'a posé une question sur le chat. Je viens de voir cette
Absolutely.
question. Ouais?
No worry.
Okay.
I didn't see that. No
Oh
problem.
yeah, I just saw it. So Fernando, sorry, I just saw your what you wrote. So you say, hi Magdi, as I understand, this is the path of knowledge. We use our intellect to discern and to understand, understanding about reality and realize our true nature. What is the role of the heart of devotion, what they call bhakti yoga? Is it compatible with the path of knowledge? So, Fernando, the path of knowledge and the path of love are not two different paths, in that you cannot be interested in the path of knowledge, in the inquiry process, without loving truth. Right? So you love truth. You're interested in truth. Your deepest heart desire is for truth, for the understanding. So within the jnana yoga, the yoga of understanding, the path of higher reasoning, there is a love for truth. So we love consciousness, we love knowledge, we love understanding, we love beauty, we love freedom, we love reality. These are not empty. These are significant. This is a significant love. So in our inquiry process, there is love for truth. You could not sustain this inquiry process if you don't fall in love with truth. You couldn't. It would boggle your mind. You could not. So it's the love for truth which is fueling the path of jnana, the path of knowledge and understanding. The only difference between, quotes unquote, the traditional bhakti path and the love for truth is that in the bhakti path in general, there is an external form that we are projecting truth in the form of a guru or in the form of a deity that we are venerating, that we are elevating to the realm of the absolute. So we are loving, in the bhakti path, we're loving the guru, the form of the guru, the shape of the guru, the feet of the guru, the voice of the guru, the words of the guru. There's a form, in a sort of a phenomenal, an objective form. In the path of jnana, love is non-objective. There is love, but it's directed directly towards consciousness, towards the source, not towards a form. So the teacher in the path of jnana is not venerated as a person, it doesn't elevate, does not venerate my form, venerate my voice, venerate my image, rather venerate the truth that is within all of us, venerate the reality which we all are. So in the traditional bhakti path, the traditional bhakti path is the long path because there is a form. You love the form, and at some point along the path, hopefully in this lifetime or after many lifetimes, you see through the form. You sort of make it through the form. You free yourself from the form. You realize that the form is not necessary, or that the form is just an expression of your reality. And so you enter the formless path, the path of pure love, love which has no object and is only directed towards consciousness, which is not an object. So the reason why I say it's a longer path, because it's not the direct path. It doesn't go directly from the love for truth to truth itself. It goes from love of truth to a form. It's the love of a form, and then at some point, it has to go to jnana. So the path of bhakti, at some point, it has to come to the path of jnana, to Advaita. At some point, it has to come to Advaita. In some of the bhakti traditions, there is a misunderstanding about Advaita. They feel that Advaita is dry. It is a false path, that all the path, the right path is the path of bhakti. They feel that only the path of bhakti is the right path. This is a narrow point of view. The path of bhakti is the right path for somebody who is somehow along the bhakti path. You cannot approach the path of jnana without to a certain extent, if not to a large extent, drop the path of bhakti. I mean, specifically bhakti in the traditional sense, where you're loving a form. Now, in Advaita, it's inevitable to also put the teacher on a pedestal. So it's important for the teacher to bring a clarity that which we are contemplating, that we are loving, we all already are. The teacher is not more a universal consciousness than you are. That's a misunderstanding. So the love for the teacher in Advaita is shared, is a shared love. The teacher loves you and you love the teacher equally, because both you and the teacher are one as love. The teacher clearly understands that and expresses that in whichever way he or she can. And in time, the student comes to this understanding, because this understanding about the teacher and who the teacher is goes hand in hand with the understanding about your reality. In my case, I never was a bhakti. That was not how I entered the path. The path became available to me directly via jnana, via a clear glimpse into reality. I saw the formless, absolute eternal reality. And in that understanding, all forms dropped. I could not pursue any form, but this is just my particular case. There are many other paths where some people are drawn towards a deity or towards a sense of love in a certain community around the guru. No. God loves diversity. Look at how many different sets of shoes and different hats, different colors and shapes and shades there are.
Yes, was very, very nice your answer, and I have realized that if it were not for love, we wouldn't be here.
Yes,
exerting this practice, this path.
absolutely.
And the bottom line, it is love.
Yes, yes.
We do all this because of love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love is, there are no obstacles to love. When there is love, there's tremendous energy and infinite possibilities and openness. There's no effort in love. It's all. But sooner or later, we come to the direct path, because we have to come to the understanding, the living understanding about universal reality, one reality. We have to sort of dive into that understanding.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Fernando. Shiva, tu es encore là, Shiva?
Yes, I am. I just wanted to appreciate and savor the silence after this conversation. Attends, oui, la vidéo, voilà, me voilà. What I wanted to add to this is it's somewhat, the whole thing is somewhat a little bit artificial, that I always felt and feel that you are probably the most bhakti of all people I know, because all your life is based on the love of truth, and bhakti is nothing but love. So I guess it's sort of what my ex-guru once said. He said that bhakti and jnana are two wings of the same bird, different expressions of the same exact one, no separated self. But this is not what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to actually ask you to do a little expose on the subject of Bodhidharma crossing the Yangtze River on a reed, and speak to the metaphor and what it means to you. And I think we will all greatly appreciate and enjoy that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Shiva. So Shiva is referring to a painting that I really love, which is a painting of Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma was, I think, the first patriarch, Zen patriarch that one of its Zen or Chinese patriarch that crossed from is it India to China. Anyways, the painting is known as a Bodhidharma crossing the Yangtze River, standing on a reed. So a reed is like a blade of grass. And
a reed is not a blade of glass. I'm sorry, a reed is un roseau in French. It grows next to the water. It's a long, tall stalk of, it's a plant, you know, a roseau.
Yeah. A roseau, I don't know how to say it in English. A roseau,
it's reed.
A reed.
It's
a reed.
Reed.
Yeah. Okay. I always imagine a blade of grass, but a reed. So he's standing on a reed crossing the Yangtze River. Of course, it's a metaphor. Which expresses reality, that reality, awareness, consciousness, God, Brahman, is not in time. It's not a linear process of past, present, and future. That the now presence is eternal. There's no before or after. There isn't, in reality, a moment before and a moment after. There isn't minus 0.1 and then 0, and on the other side plus 0.1. That does not exist in reality. That is just in the conceptual realm. Time, the unfolding of events is in the realm of thought, in the realm of dream. Like in your night dream, you dream that you're traveling and it's taking you 5, 10, 15 years to travel across India and China. It's just in your dream. So Bodhidharma is standing, crossing the Yangtze River on a reed, is the expression of the eternity of being. Not one moment to the right and not one moment to the left. In our contemplation in our contemplation. The invitation is to come to this living understanding. The understanding that you are this eternity and that you're crossing the Yangtze River on the reed, moment by moment. You are Bodhidharma, crossing the river on the reed. But because you imagine yourself to be traveling in time and space, you imagine that you're falling off the reed. You imagine that something is happening to you and that you have to sort of somehow swim back onto the reed and somehow get back on and do all sorts of efforts to keep your balance. But Bodhidharma is his poise is unmoved. Effortlessly is unmoved. Isn't the peace, isn't any effort. And yet the Yangtze River is moving. The Yangtze River is moving with wind and all sorts of waves, but he is on the reed unmoved. So there are movements. There are movements of thoughts, perceptions, sensations, but there is no movement at the core, at the heart of Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma, the reed, the ocean, the river, the waves, there is no movement at the core. So in our experience, in this moment, that is in fact our experience. There is a seeming movement, there is a movement of conversation, of colors, of shapes, of sounds, of sensations. But there is also non-movement. And this non-movement permeates the movement. It's not apart from the movement. It permeates the movement. So entire movement is a non-movement in its reality, in its core, in its essence, in its reality. What else besides the reality? What else? What else? When we speak of reality, it's it. There's no other conversation, really. So in our experience, yes, there are thoughts, perceptions, sensations. Yes. But there is the unmoved and the unmovable within all the perceptions and all the sensations and all the activities. So when we contemplate the process of thinking, perceiving, and sensing, we have also available to us the living experiential understanding about the reality of thinking, perceiving, and sensing. Because it's available to us right now. The reality of perceiving and sensing. What is it? Is it moving? The answer to that question is the non-movement itself. It's not an answer that's posed to the mind. It goes deeper than the mind. We are that. We know that experientially. We do. It's not something so fantastic. It is true. It's right there. It's just a sort of an unveiling as a way of speaking, as a sort of unveiling. And don't banalize or underestimate this unveiling. It's momentous. So you are commissioned, Shiva. N'oublie pas. Je t'ai déjà envoyé la photo, donc bonne chance.
It was, you know, the photo wasn't very. I tried to send it to everybody on the chat, but I guess I can't attach photos to chats. It's technically not possible, but it's a bit sort of a generic Chinese, you know, drawing where the actual action of I was very intrigued. This was very beautiful for sharing. So everything I have to say is actually just little banal details, but I was a bit intrigued because in the Celtic lore, the reed is a symbol for flexibility. So it's used, you know, to do like in Hawaii, they use bamboo for that. They say like, you know, an oak tree breaks in the wind, but the bamboo or the reed is just bending in the wind. So therefore it's surviving, and it's nice. It's been used in the old days, especially at the time of Bodhidharma in the 11th century, to build reed boats. So they were building boats out of reeds, you know, and like the Incas did, and all these people, they had reed boats, and they actually crossed entire oceans on these reed boats. So it's a very humble little plant, but it was a very powerful tool for early humans. So the idea of the river being an obstacle for a human being bound in a material world, which can't, you know, I mean, except for cities or, you know, people who have telepathic or teleportable kind of abilities, the river is a big problem. So if there's no boat, you can't cross. So not only does he cross, but what I was so intrigued on is like, okay, so if there's no time, no space for an enlightened being, then all he needs to do is close his eyes and he's on the other side of the river. So this balancing act, you know, on like one tiny little reed, and which, as you out so beautifully, is not, you can't navigate it. I mean, it's not, you can't steer it. The river is flowing. So not only would he not be able to be carried by this tiny little piece of grass or reed, but he wouldn't be able to direct it in any kind of way. And yet he's doing both of it. So I was kind of like, whoa, where's this symbol? What's this metaphor coming from? But you obviously brought it to the highest possible level. So,
but I love what you're saying, because you're bringing in so many other nuances to that, you know, magnificent, you know, painting, which, you know, is the whole concept of obstacles, of course, you know, the river being an obstacle, and also navigation, you know, the what helps you to cross, you know, from one shore to the other. You know, there's a whole symbolism about the shore reaching the other shore, you know, in the, I think that's more in the Buddhist tradition, right? Yeah, you're bringing in many other aspects of, you know, to the you know, the way this painting can be interpreted. That I will definitely ponder upon.
It's really interesting because I've done a lot of mythology, and I'm very always interested. I've never really had that particular metaphor or symbol of riding a blade of grass or reed through a moving water body. You know, it's kind of like totally new to me. And what it brought up was also, to some degree, you know, the classical Advaita metaphor of the blade itself, the blade of a knife, and how it's often in order to be in presence and not fall off the cliff on either one side, this balancing act of riding the edge of the blade of a knife, you know. So it was kind of like the blade of grass, the blade of the knife. I don't know, it like triggered a lot of stuff with me, and I just want to bring it up. So, yeah.
There is another beautiful painting, and I'll see if I can find it and send it to you, which is I think it's more like in the Zen tradition, where this monk is falling off the cliff and he's holding on to the root of you know, he's like hanging off the cliff and holding to the root of this plant there, and within his reach there is a ripe also growing from the rock cliff face. There is a teeny tiny strawberry plant, and there is a ripe strawberry, and but it's like slightly off his reach, so he's reaching for the strawberry, but to catch the strawberry he may have to let go of the root that he's holding on to. It's really beautiful, also metaphoric painting about that's relevant to you know what we discuss. If I find it, I'll send it to you. I have to dig a little bit.
Interesting.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah. The strawberries generally desire, especially sexual or sensual desire.
And it's also the rejoicing.
Right.
You rejoice in life and celebrate life, but then you're holding on to something.
Right.
So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you, Magdi. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see that Richard posted, you know, the link. Thank you, Richard. Oh, Andrew you write some more. You wrote, Andrew, I'm going to read what you wrote. The theologian Paul Tillich challenged my Bhakti approach to God in my early Christian years by writing about God beyond God. That is the reality beyond our devoted concepts of God. Yes. One night, I just wanted to reconnect with God without projecting my own concept of God. Every devotional thought or supplication fell back on itself, recognized as a projection, a concept. The result was eventually an inner silence. Profound connection is there, but no words or definitions. At one point, I recognized that I was meditating for the first time. There is nothing in between, no barriers to overcome, but concepts. Yes, very nice. Even concepts we don't need to overcome. Even concepts we don't need to overcome. Concepts are what they are. Yes, thank you for sharing that. That's really... Any questions?
Thank you, Magdi. I can't be here very often, but when I can, it's beautiful and I appreciate it.
Well, very lovely to be with you all. Thank you all, Fernando,
Thank you, Magdi.
Nathan, Adam, Judy, Shiva, Frank, Alan, Andrew, George, Mina, Richard, Shallow, and my sweet Tara. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi.